Hey everybody, welcome back to Chortle Cast. I'm Jake, and with me as always, Steven, the Stream King, the Far Cry guy, the man, the myth, the legend, the Toy Story hating son of a bitch, Steven. Hey Steven, welcome back.
Whoa. No. I like Toy Story. I love Toy Story. Toy Story 4 shouldn't exist. Should Toy Story 4 exist?
Shouldn't exist.
Should Toy Story 4 exist?
You son of a
That is
bitch.
the question.
How dare you?
We're going to answer today. Welcome to Chortlecast.
How dare you bespoke the name of Woody, of Buzz?
They bespoke the name of all of them when they made Toy Story 4.
How dare you bespoke the name of Keanu Reeves, Steven?
Okay, Keanu Reeves was the best part of this movie.
They made this movie for Keanu Reeves. I've got it from Mr. Disney himself, that he said, I saw Keanu Reeves and I said, man, I want to put him in a movie, but it's got to be Toy Story, and he's got to be a stunt double daredevil.
From Mr. Disney, is that the Monopoly Man, but for Disney?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
He's just a metal head that speaks sometimes. It's the frozen head.
Is
of
he
Walt
the
Disney,
Epcot ball?
But he's frozen in.
Is the Epcot ball the
carbonite.
head of Mr. Disney?
Yeah.
Whoa. Is the Epcot ball the head of Mr. Disney? That's the question we look to answer today. Welcome to Chortlecast. This is the longest intro we've ever
I
done.
love it. I really just got heated there in the moment. I was like, man, that son of a bitch didn't like Toy Story, which you did, but you just thought it was pointless. That's
I'll
all the
talk about
reviews
that
I've
in
said,
catch-up,
or all the reviews I've read have said the same thing. That like, don't know why this needed to happen, but it's great. It's funny. Someone was telling me today that it's the funniest of the four.
Strong disagree there.
Anyway,
We'll talk about that
that's
more
not
in
what we're here
catch-up.
to talk about. This is Chortlecast, the official podcast for Chortle Games, where we talk about TV shows, movies, anime, video games, whatever the heck we want to talk about. I guess this is what
One
we're here to
video
talk
game.
about. We're here to talk about
You
whatever.
get one video game here.
Yeah, mostly video games.
Just one.
But and whatever else we want to talk about. Me and Steven just get off on tangents sometimes, and that's okay because we're just here. We're hanging out. It's Monday, right? This airs every Monday at 12 o'clock Central Time. We're here to catch you up on what you missed last week and get you revved up for this week. And, we're here to have a good time, okay, Steven? So stop being moody about Toy Story.
I didn't know that I was walking into a trap when I agreed to record this Chortlecast.
No, we got a great show for you this week, guys. We're going to be talking about basically the one topic I really want to talk about is that their leaked Nintendo Switch Mini, which has not been confirmed yet. We'll get there. I want to talk about it. We'll also touch on some things that EA is doing right now. We're gonna that was I almost worded that poorly. We're gonna talk about Tifa's boobs in Final Fantasy VII. That was almost a real bad framing of that. We're gonna talk about some changes to the Eververse coming to Destiny 2, and then as a fun little topic, IGN has this article about which Marvel characters Keanu Reeves could be playing or should play, and we're gonna kind of go back and forth and look at some of those and see what Steven and I think, since we like Marvel a fair bit. And I am not a justified Keanu fan, meaning like I have not seen enough of his work to really call myself a fan, but I'm a huge fan of Keanu Reeves.
I'm 100% justified. I've been there since The Matrix. I was there when he came back with John Wick, and I've been following John Wick all throughout. And I was there for Bill and Ted. Not when it first came out, but I did see it, and I loved it.
But anyway, so it's going to be a great show. So, Steven, you ready? Let's just dive into it.
Let's do it. Let's go.
First off, I just want to get Tifa out of the way because I'm sick of it, okay? I'm sick of it. If I see another damn tweet, if I see another effing article about Tifa's breast size in Final Fantasy VII, I'm going to hurt somebody, Steven. I'm going to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Are you aware of what's happening, like what's going on?
So it's funny because after you talked about it like 2 days ago, it started showing up in my newsfeed.
It's everywhere. It's all the internet cares about right now, or at least my side of the internet, and I'm just over it. So if you're not aware, I honestly just don't know how you can't be at this point. Basically, so Final Fantasy VII, it's getting a remake. It's a big deal right now. And supposedly, Tifa's breast sizes have changed, and it's the stupidest thing because, Steven, what are the graphics like in Final Fantasy VII, the original?
Bad.
they're polygon characters who are just geometric shapes that resemble humans.
Hands are literally squares. Like, they look more like hooves than they do hands.
And so breast sizes obviously are not going to be accurate in that. Okay? Like, I was watching a video of Cloud in that, and Cloud's shoulders are huge, and like his central bicep, I guess, like the main bicep, is stick thin, and then he's got these huge calves. Like, none of that is accurate, okay? Like, that is not how it works. And so people are mad, people are upset because it looks like they shrunk Tifa's breast size. I really hope that they're like, okay, we've heard your concern, so we've adjusted it. And for the final version, because these fans are just the worst, she just has triangles. Just like literally just triangles. Oh man, wouldn't that be great? Like, so I look at the images and I think she looks normal, right? Like, I don't think she has like obscenely large breasts or anything. I think it looks right. Like, it doesn't look like it's out of place. Right. But a lot of people have been complaining, oh, it's whatever. But the funniest thing about this whole deal is like, these I assume guys are writing all these tweets and articles about,
guys.
Oh, I can't believe her breast size has changed. This is unfair. This isn't realistic. Like, screw whatever. And like, they're saying stuff like, in the 7, she's a double D, but she's been reduced to a B and stuff like that. And like, women gamers have been commenting back on this and have been like, this is not how bras work. Like, this is not how breast sizes work. So that started a whole nother thing. I'm just over it at this point, okay?
It's one of those things where it's like, I'm embarrassed to be a guy right now because stories like that are a headline.
So many things make me embarrassed to be a guy sometimes.
It's funny because, like, I feel like this isn't the first time we've had this controversy.
No, all the time. I mean, Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider.
Yeah, that's literally what I was about to say was Tomb Raider, because
they have done a great job of desexualizing her while still giving her, like, I don't know, this power and like what she stood for women back then, but was just eye candy for men. Like, they've reduced a lot of that and done good things, is what I'm trying to say.
In my opinion, specifically Lara Croft means more than she ever did.
Oh, yeah.
Because even back then, she was just a girl that was strong, adventurous, and a lead. Mm-hmm. When you didn't really have a whole lot of that. But now they have made her a relatable character who can show signs of weakness, who isn't just untouchable just for the sake of making an untouchable main character. She's flawed, but she's very human, and like, she's one of the best written female characters in pop culture, in my opinion, now, as opposed to back then when she was just triangles on legs, like.
Absolutely.
But I love Lara Croft now. Like, every single time I see like a female character written in media, I always compare them to the new Lara Croft.
Yeah. They did a great job with that. So I don't know. Anyway, the whole Tifa thing, it's just, I think it's stupid. I wish the internet would get over it, move on. I hope they will soon. But anyway, I just want to get that out of the way. Say I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. If you're upset about it,
get that off his chest.
Exactly. Just get over it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I want to also get this story out of the way. So, Steven, that senator we talked about a few podcasts ago who's trying to get this law passed where loot boxes and loot box mechanics are no longer in games, right? Right. We had a great discussion about how we hate that obviously we're not huge fans of loot boxes, but I was coming at it with the perspective of I understand a company's got to make money where they can. They got to do what they got to do, but at least it's optional for most games, or at least that's how it should be. The good ones, the ones that do it well, it's optional. It's a fun bonus if you play the game a lot. Like I'm a whale in Destiny because I play so much of that game. I end up spending in the Eververse.
Spent like $10 on a electric staff emote.
Look, it's cool. It's a really cool emote. Okay. All right.
Okay.
But anyway. Then you were looking at it, Stephen, from a really interesting perspective, too, of this shouldn't be something that the government should regulate. This should be something that parents should be more on top of. And, adults should be more on top of, whatever. Anyway, that was the whole discussion. Well, EA, some might call the king of loot boxes and those sort of mechanics, were defending those mechanics this week, calling them surprise mechanics. So they were trying to get away from the term of loot box, and they were basically just like, gamers love them. They're surprise mechanics. They're this fun thing that, like, they were comparing them to like Kinder eggs, which are these chocolate eggs that usually has some sort of prize in them. It's a cheap prize, but you don't get Kinder eggs for the prize. You get Kinder eggs because they're chocolate deliciousness.
Right.
Anyway, basically they were just defending loot boxes. I don't think there was any real outcome that came out of that. Like, I don't know if any of the senators were. It actually might have been UK. Yeah, I think it was in the UK.
It was in the UK.
Defending
it
this.
Was.
I don't know that they disagreed with anything. I'm looking through this article now.
I feel like EA doing that, or at least the internet's response, was almost like there was a conversation happening, and then EA is that guy that stands up and tries to defend themselves, and everyone just looks at him and then goes back to the conversation and just ignores everything they say,
Yeah.
Because it's just like, you of all people do not get to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I just read here, basically that didn't really change the court's mind or any opinions. So, yeah, just like you said, they just said it, and it's like, why did you say this? Like, why did you even bother? Crazy EA. But, oh well. Okay, let's get to what I really want to talk about, Steven.
Okay.
Steve, earlier this week, I sent you and Brody and Miles these images. I'm going to throw these up right here, okay? So if you're a audio listener, I'll describe it for you. But basically, it was this image circulating Twitter that was, it was like a Chinese developer. My article that I saved turned out to be a video, so I'm trying to get
It was a Chinese,
words.
retailer.
It was a Chinese company, and I want to find their name, but it was a Chinese company who makes like accessories for the Switch and for some other things. And so they have these renders of a Switch Mini, and it's basically a render to like show, hey, the screen protector fits the Switch Mini, and we have a Switch Mini case and a Switch Mini carry bag and all this other stuff that, like, we all know that there's a rumor of a Switch Mini, but we haven't seen any concrete evidence until now that something like that was coming or coming soon. So anyway, but I sent them to you. Steven, what did you think of the image? Kind of describe what it looked like for us while I try to find
fake. To me, like, I saw it, and it looks like if you were to do a Switch Mini, it looked ideal. This is funny because I've been having like kind of a debate, not really a debate, but McCoy, who has streamed Borderlands with me on the channel. He's been in the chat. He's going to be probably in future videos, but he hates the Switch. Because he is a huge Nintendo fan, but he is the kind of person who works long shifts, can't plug something in at his shift, so he loves his 3DS because it's like, just flip it out, play a game, close it if you need to pay attention. It's that convenience. And he's a very particular guy, and he's said that the Switch is a lot of money for a system that doesn't have the battery life, nowhere near the battery life of a 3DS. And it's just frustrating him because the Switch basically made the 3DS obsolete.
It did. It did.
Which I love my 3DS, but I'm probably never going to play it again because I have a Switch.
Yeah, I mean, the Switch, it made it obsolete. I mean, it does essentially the same stuff, but better. It's just, they were still at the time releasing games specifically for the 3DS, but everything I saw was like, why aren't you releasing this on Switch? Like, I'd much rather play this on my Switch.
So my question for him was, what if they made something like what we now are calling the Switch Mini, where it was designed to where maybe you couldn't dock it, but it had a significantly longer battery life and was sold at discount. And he was like, I'd be all for it. So, to me, I think it would be absolutely ideal and brilliant if they released something for that vast market of former 3DS players that they have. Because the 3DS was, I would say, crazy successful when it comes to just having a following. Because the people that had their 3DS loved their 3DS.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In Japan, I mean, it's the biggest thing Nintendo does. I mean, you know, I don't think it's nearly as big here in America, but...
Right. But they dominated the handheld market.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So
and
now,
no one, Sony's not interested in that market anymore.
Right.
Microsoft is not interested in that. I mean, everyone else but Nintendo has basically moved on to cloud. You know, we still don't really know what PlayStation's doing with that, but yes.
But if they were to basically come to those 3DS people and be like, "Hey, we hear you. Come join the Switch demographic," and you've suddenly combined your home console player base with your portable player base because they would play the same games and be able to play together, but you'd basically have two different markets under the same flag making the same sales.
Yeah,
it just seems stupid
crazy.
to not
but
do
I
it.
think I completely agree with you. Like, that is such a genius strategy. I want to quickly insert before I forget and we move on. It's a Chinese realtor named Hanson, Honson. They sell cases, screen protectors, all that sort of stuff. But so to go back to the system, I mean, it basically looks like a Switch, a little bit smaller, and the Joy-Cons don't detach. But the Joy-Cons
they're attached.
You know, like the Joy-Cons look now, just a little bit smaller, which they're already pretty small. So I hope it's not, when they do release this, it's not crazy small. And then, it looked like it probably won't dock. I hadn't thought much about the battery life. I do hope the battery life
needs more battery
is improved.
life. It really needs more battery life for that to be justifiable.
Yeah. Well, so when I saw it, I mean, obviously I have a Switch. Your Switch is portable. It's, I take my Switch in my backpack pretty much everywhere I go. But I put my Switch in my backpack, and if I take my backpack, it goes with me. Very rarely do that on a day-to-day basis. Pretty much only do it when I'm going on trips or I'm going to be traveling for a while, or I know I'm going to go sit somewhere for a long time. But typically, I'm not pulling it out or doing a lot with it. I'm usually playing my Switch at home, either filming something or streaming something, or sitting on the couch, whatever. I rarely play mine handheld. I say that I rarely play mine handheld, but at the same time, like, I usually reserve it for times that I'm going to be traveling. Anyway, I saw this thing, and I was like, if this could fit in my pocket, and I could pop it out anytime and just go, and it'd be able to play Zelda, it'd be able to play all the same games. I'm interested. For the right price, I'm interested. And what do you think the price on something like that would be, Steven? Because, like, right now the Switch is like what, $350, something like that?
I think for a less powerful system.
Do you think it's going to be less powerful?
I think that it would, because I mean, already the Switch handheld versus docked is less powerful.
Yes.
I think that.
So I want to make sure I'm clarifying what you're saying. You think it would be as powerful as handheld Switch?
Potentially.
Okay.
If you're talking about, like, I don't know hardware very well when it comes to, like, the guts, but when you're talking like fit in my pocket, that I don't see that being as powerful as handheld Switch, because even the handheld Switch is still pretty good. But I don't know. I don't know. It would be a Switch, so it would still play all Switch games, but to the resolution and quality and everything of even a handheld Switch, depending on how much they size it down, and even you said just remove the components that make it dock compatible, free up some space, bring in the size a little bit. I could see that. But I just don't know if I see it fitting in a pocket. But I would say something like that being between $200 to $250.
I think that's a good range for it. That's interesting about the power. I mean, I like you said, I don't know anything about hardware either. So I'm talking out of my ass here a little bit, but I'm thinking in order for it to run Switch games and like to not have a split market of, oh, this only plays on Switch Mini, or this doesn't work on Switch Mini, this is only a Switch thing. That would be a bad direction to go. So I feel like it's got to at least be as powerful as handheld Switch. But I'll tell you another thing. If part of that sacrifice to keep it that powerful is to not make it pocket size, that may be a deal breaker for me. Because the only pull I have for this, being a Switch owner already, is it being smaller, therefore more accessible at any moment. That kind of makes me say, oh, okay, I might could get on board with this. But if it's just a little bit smaller than my Switch right now and not pocket size, then I might as well just take my Switch.
Right. And to me, that doesn't sound that bad.
No,
because
and you know, it would. Then I don't need to buy it. You know, I've still got my Switch. I'm happy, but it would get somebody like McCoy in.
Exactly, exactly. And maybe I'm just jealous, and I need someone else who played Armored Core when we were kids. Or not jealous. Maybe I'm selfish, and just want a fellow Armored Core player from way back to be able to play Daemon X Machina with me when it comes out. But. And regarding the whole less powerful thing, when I say that, I mean like maybe lower frame rate, a little bit lower resolution, nothing that actually would make it look like different graphics, just maybe look like lowering the quality on a video just a smidge, you know, something like that.
Well, and see, and again, I think at that point, that's kind of a deal breaker for me, because it's like, well,
right.
If something like Breath of the Wild, you know, if it won't play as good as my handheld Switch, then I may, you know, I'd rather just wait till I have that, or I'll make the extra effort to take.
And I mean, who knows? Because apparently we've got phones that can play Doom. So,
you know, I mean,
maybe the tech is small enough.
It's the future, Steven. Damn it, it's the future. Okay, we're all in right now. All right, I'm ready for the Switch Mini. When do you think, Steven, we might hear about this? Like, for real, like, get an announcement. Because it's not uncommon for, like, renders like this to leak.
But I mean, it would be stupid of them to not roll out something like this by holiday 2019. If it's truly ready, it would be stupid of them to miss out on that market time.
I think this launches with Pokemon.
I think that would be brilliant.
Like November 22nd, something like that, November 16th. I think that if I was Mr. Nintendo, Steven, sitting up in Epcot, sipping on my tea with Mr. Disney, I'd be saying, "Now, Mr. Disney, I'm thinking November 19th for this to go with Pokemon, because Pokemon has always been a handheld title. That's always been
primary demographic of those 3DS players that are salty.
I guarantee you, yes, they're already salty. I guarantee you there's a lot of Pokemon players who are like, I say this. There's probably a lot of Pokemon players who are like, I don't want to get a Switch. I'm loving my 3DS. And they're like bitter that, you know, they're going to have to upgrade to a Switch or whatever. Throw this at them. Hey, it's still a handheld. It's traditional, what you've always had. I don't know. I think it would be stupid not to, but
I agree.
And if that's, you know, if we project there, I mean, we've got to hear about it in the next couple months. I mean, November is not that far away.
Yep. Trying to think of because with there being a new Fire Emblem game, that's a normally portable series. A new Animal Crossing, it's normally a portable series. Like there are a lot of 3DS typical games, or DS handheld, whatever.
Yeah.
There are a lot of games that reach that demographic that are coming out within months of each other this year, or possibly through next year. So for them to not give an answer to those people that are still skeptical would just be such a missed opportunity.
Yeah. I you know, in my head, I'm thinking, you know, we've still got July. I don't think it's going to happen. There's not going to be any kind of direct in July announcing this. You know, then you got August, September, October, and then November. So that's 5 months before I'm theorizing it would release. I think probably like August, September. That's a good time to announce it. When does Fire Emblem come out in August? Right?
July 26th.
Oh wow, that's a lot sooner. See, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think somewhere around that they announce, hey, we got the Switch Mini. You know, Fire Emblem will work on it. Pokemon's going to work on it. Animal Crossing's going to work on it. You know, God, oh man, just thinking about Animal Crossing being on that and it being pocket size to where like I'm sitting in the office, I'm waiting on something to render. Let me check on my village real quick. You know, see what's going on or something. You know, something quick that you know it wouldn't be worth pulling out my normal Switch, or I probably wouldn't have even brought my backpack in today to work on. So, man, I love this idea. I think it would be great.
Yeah, Nintendo.
Do it.
Listen to us. Do it.
Let us know.
Get me a friend to play Daemon X Machina with.
I will play with you, Steven, okay?
You said that about Division.
Yeah, but I hated Division. It's so not a game for me on any level. I can kind of get into Daemon X Machina.
I think that you could totally get into DXM.
There's swords, aren't there?
Yeah, there's swords.
I'm in,
you can,
dude. Like,
you can bring 4 swords to a battle if you wanted to.
I mean, I'm all about it. I'm in. Okay, it's just it may not be as frequent as something like Destiny, but I'm in to play. I'm down to clown. You know what they say.
Speaking of Destiny.
Oh yeah, we gotta talk about Destiny. I was about to move on to Keanu. Sorry, Keanu, you gotta wait. Let's talk
last, Keanu.
About Destiny, Steven. You and I are playing a lot of Destiny right now. We are loving it. I'm having such a great time. I've missed Destiny. I thought I was over it, but they've sucked me right back in. The Menagerie is so much fun.
Menagerie was great.
You and I have only done one, but man, I'm hooked. I want to figure it out. I want to get the mechanics down. I want to level up so I'm not just like beating my head against the wall.
The Menagerie is the perfect example of what an end game activity should look like in a game like Destiny.
Absolutely.
Because it challenges your build, it challenges your teamwork, and it's not overly bullcrap with its difficulty. It's difficult.
And I would say it's not yes, you need to communicate with a team, but like it was you and me, we were in a fire team and we were with how many is it? 6. So we were with four other people.
Yeah.
So you assume some of them are probably a fire team, right? But some of them probably weren't. Like there were some guys that were running around doing something. I guarantee you those two were fire teams, and they were trying to figure something out, right?
Right.
But like, I never once felt like, God, if we could communicate with these guys, which obviously we could have just jumped into voice chat and been fine.
Right.
But like, obviously I didn't want to do that. But I didn't once be like, we're just not going to be able to do this because we can't communicate to these people.
Right.
Like it's easy enough that as long as you can come in and know what you're supposed to do. Like you may not do it quickly or you may not do it the best you could possibly do it. But we got through our first thing and we got the reward and it was hard, but it was not it wasn't stupid, right? Like
we were never talking about a wall, and I loved that.
Exactly. Like the final boss, you and I were terrified that a clock was going to show up. It was
that a wipe mechanic would happen.
Exactly. Which we still don't know if that could happen. We avoided that for the most part. Yeah. But like you and I both kept waiting for a clock, and I was just the whole time I was like, "There's no way we can beat a clock unless it's a really long clock." There's no way because we were slowly chipping through, but it was not. I mean, it was going to be something that like I knew we could do it. But I didn't know how many rounds it was going to take of getting the boss out of his protection to do it. But anyway, I don't know. I dare say it's a perfect mode because it's great. It's challenging.
It's the best mode they've added to Destiny 2, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because like it's doable with a pug. Because like it took us a while. It took us about an hour, maybe more. Maybe hour 15.
It was a long. It was a long. And you get a powerful Ingram every time you do it if you beat it.
Yeah, it's both rewarding but also fun to do. If we had been able to communicate, like if we had a raid group as a fire team, we could have trimmed that time in half.
Oh yeah,
easily. And I like that.
It was our first time doing it. So like every room you and I walked in, we were like, "What's the puzzle here? we figure it out. Some of them we figured out. Some of them we still were like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here.
Yeah.
But as we figured them out, the next time we ran into that puzzle, popped it out, got it done quicker. Most of the ones that we figured out are the ones that we beat, and that's the boss that we ended up fighting.
Yeah, and I just, it does have a time limit, but the time limit does not make you lose. It's just okay, this is your amount of time to move towards the final goal. You run out of time, okay, next room. I like that. And we never hit a wall. I don't think you ever meet a true fail condition in the menagerie.
Unless, like we said, we never wiped. We never team wiped.
Right.
But all that would have done probably was just reset the boss, and that would have, that would have been the wall that we hit.
And I just love that because it's a test of your perseverance, but not a test of your perseverance where you feel like you're just banging your head against a wall doing the same thing over and over again. It gives you the opportunity to regroup, come up with a plan, and just be ready to tackle the next room. It's like, okay, this bad puzzle's behind us. Let's move on to the next one and see if we have any better luck there. That's great. That's really smart. Good on that.
Really good stuff. But anyway, we've been playing a lot of it. This week, Bungie, obviously the Shadow Keep is the next big update coming. That's coming in September 17th. So a lot of fun stuff. They're slow. We've had like a vid doc that talked in large general terms about what they're adding and what's happening, and like they showed off that new finisher move that I still want to know more about. But they've talked a little bit, but now they're over time. They're obviously giving more detailed information about what's happening, what's changing, and so as those things come up, we'll obviously talk about that because we're playing Destiny a lot right now, and obviously I want to stay in it till we get to Shadowkeep, and then if Shadowkeep ends up sucking, we might move on to something else.
Peace out and then move on.
Just for a little bit, we'll always come back to Destiny. It just pulls you back in. Yep. But anyway, so one of the things they talked about this week was changes coming to Eververse. For those of you that don't know, Eververse is like the microtransactions. You get cool armor, skins.
It's Destiny 2's surprise mechanic.
Exactly. Yeah, and you get emotes from that. Whatever. So just a quick rundown. They wrote a whole article, but like diary entry about what all they're doing and why they're doing it. But just to give you the bullet points of what's changing, all Eververse armor, new armor and armor you've got, is being converted to universal ornaments. So what that means is basically I see a cool cape for my hunter in Eververse, but I've got this great cape that's got a god roll, which I don't even know what a god roll for a cape would be, but like I've got great stats on this cape that I've got. But, I just maybe I got it. Maybe I didn't even pay for it. I just got that out of a Ingram. I can just apply that as an ornament to my existing cape and look cool, which is awesome. I really like that.
It's an enhanced transmog system, which this game has desperately needed since launch.
And that's one of the things they've talked about. They're adding that into... that's going to be one of the changes. That was one of the general changes they talked about, is that transmods are coming back, or I say coming back, are coming. So that's exciting. But this is just kind of to tag along with that. Eververse armor will all be that. Universal ornaments can be attached to your newly acquired legendary armor. I kind of talked about that. Bright dust is going to come from doing bounties, not dismantling things you've spent money on. So this is a big deal. You're going to get dust for anything you do. So we do the flashpoint, we get dust.
Really?
Yeah. As I take it, all missions. Well,
there are Eververse bounties.
This bullet point does make me think, like you're saying, Steven, you only get it from these bounties. But in the full diary entry, they talked about it as you get bright dust from doing any activity.
Interesting.
So it's going to almost not replace Glimmer, obviously, but like I think of it as an additional Glimmer bonus to everything you do. That's how I read it. But this bullet point says bounties specifically. It doesn't mention anything else, which if that's the case, that's real rough, because not that those bounties are hard, but you get, you've got
very little for doing.
Yeah, you got tickets, you get very little, but you've got tickets that you have to turn in to get a bounty, and you've only got so many of those tickets. Now, I, a whale, have plenty of tickets, so I'll be fine for a little bit, but so I don't know. That's interesting. But and what I was telling you, Stephen, was my concern here. Obviously, if this is the case, I'm even more concerned. But you get a pretty good chunk of dust from dismantling, an extra cape that you got that you didn't want or whatever when you open an Ingram. I really only keep exotic things that I get from Ingrams, and then obviously I keep any emote, but most armor, like if I'm not into it, I don't keep it at all or worry about it.
Yeah.
And I don't keep any ghosts. I have a cat ghost from Halloween that I will never change. Like, they'd have to do something real fucking cool to get me to change that cat, because that is my ghost, absolutely.
Right.
I dismantle a lot, and I get a pretty decent amount of dust. Like, I think I've got 3,500 dust right now. So, like, if something cool comes up, I can get it. But then, like, that's one shot. Like, that's one sparrow. Boom, all that dust is gone. And it takes you a while to build that up. So, if suddenly I have to do these specific bounties to get any dust, that's going to be rough. So I'm a little nervous about what the ratio is going to be. Obviously, if it's doing anything, I think there's the potential that it could be you're getting more dust if it's for anything. Obviously, if it's specific bounties, I don't think it'll be a similar ratio, but I'm very curious to see how that goes. And then Eververse items can now be pulled from your collections with Glimmer/Legendary shards instead of Bright Dust. So, Steven, you unlock a Sparrow, you think, I don't need this, you dismantle it or whatever. I don't know what you get. I guess you don't get anything for dismantling it now. You can always pull it back out for Legendary shards and Glimmer, which at this point we all have a pretty decent stockpile of.
Not me. I spent a lot on chests.
Well, for Warner.
Yeah.
Steven and I, so part of the missions getting into Season of Opulence and figuring out Warner and the Menagerie, once you complete your first Menagerie, you get access. Well, you have to buy an upgrade on your Chalice. That's part of like the tutorial narrative. Once you buy that upgrade, you can open the chests on Warner's ship, and they're like one-time use and done. But Steven and I walked up to him, and Steven was like, "Oh my gosh, you have to pay 5,000 or like 5K Glimmer to open these." And in my head, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like I don't even think I have 5K Glimmer, period. Like that's insane." I was like, "Well, I guess Glimmer matters now." But you just started opening up every single one, and I was like,
I opened every single one of them.
I was also, like, damn, I know Glimmer is that is pennies in Destiny, but like 5K, I was thinking 50,000, Steven, is what I was thinking. So I was like, how does Steven have that? Like, I think there's a cap. Like, you can't
there's
have
only
that much
100,000.
So once you opened them all and kind of said that, I was like, well, I'm just going to open them all. And I still have plenty of Glimmer. So I don't.
So those actually reset. Those chests do.
Crap. Now I'm going to run out of Glimmer, Steven.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's beside the point. So you can get Glimmer, get your stuff from Eververse for Legendary.
But no, there's dismantle all your.
That's
your Eververse
the last
stuff
thing I was about to say. Yeah. Before September 17th, you need to dismantle any unused Eververse items to maximize your Bright Dust reserve. So basically, which I do this anyway, and I have to imagine that other people do as well. But just as a pro tip, whatever, right now, dismantle anything you don't want or don't need. So if you've got, which this is my thing, I dismantle every legendary Sparrow I get. I only keep exotic ones, and I swear I buy every exotic one I see because I like to have a collection of sparrows, okay? I have a problem, and I understand that, but admitting it is part of the solution, okay? But, like, yeah, just dismantle anything and everything you have. If you put something in your inventory or whatever storage that you aren't using, dismantle it, because as I understand it, you can get it back later if you really want it. So I dismantle every shaders, transmat effects, any armor, sparrows, ships, whatever you're not using or don't want, get rid of it.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know what I ought to do?
Lots of what?
So, I am a hunter. I play as a hunter. And at this point, Steve and I were having this discussion with Brody. Like, you need to pick somebody and stick with them, right? Like, there is too much in this game now, unless you are just playing this game to death. There is no time to get all of your characters where they need to be, doing what they need to do, whatever. There's no way to maintain that. Like I said, unless you are just hardcore as a somewhat casual player, there's just no way. So Steven and I were talking about that. What I'm thinking now is, like, you know, my Warlock and my Titan character both have legendary sparrows that they don't need. Like, I stripped them of every, like, they have bare bones equipment because I've taken everything and dismantled it for Bright Dust and stuff. Like, I've given them just bare minimum what they need to survive. But they don't need those anymore.
No, they don't.
I may have to pull those back in. And I know, and obviously they have legendary ships as well. But, like, should I pull those in and just go make them buy, like, the cheap Amanda ships?
Yes. Yes.
I might have to do that, because that's at least, if I've got, let's say, 2 ships, 2 sparrows, that's at least 400 glimmer probably that we're looking at. That might be, I don't know, that sounds about right. 100 Bright Dust for that.
Anyway,
good stuff, man.
Playing
I love
Destiny again.
Right,
a lot of changes coming. It's good to be back.
It's good to be
you know
back.
Who else is back though?
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu freaking Reeves.
He hasn't even really left. You know what I mean? He's been back. He's been back for a while.
He's always been
now.
He's always been the same cool guy, but, like, people are finally realizing, oh yeah, Keanu Reeves is actually awesome.
Right. He's great.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not fully a Justified fan, but I really like it. So what I want to do, so IGN has put up this article on their Jesse Shadeen at IGN put up this article. Basically, it's like 6 characters from the Marvel Universe that he could play, or, like, might be good for him to play, that sort of thing. So I want to go through some of these, Steven, see what you think. We might discuss, you know, what we think. We might have some things to add to this. I don't know. But anyway, let's just jump into it. So the first one is a guy named Droog. He looks like the devil himself. But he's a character from the Eternals, which is the Eternals are Thanos' people. That it's a movie coming out. Angelina Jolie's rumored to be in the cast right now. So, but Droog is the villain. So he's oh gosh, I don't know as much about these people, but he's very dark and very twisted. Supposedly darker than Thanos. So he looks like a bad dude, but anyway, he would be the villain. So that would be really interesting to see Keanu Reeves play the villain. Because first off, he's a really nice guy. But second off, he's usually the hero or a hero. So that would be crazy. Kind of going along. What do you think of that, Steven? I don't know that much about the Eternals.
I don't know who that is. I would not personally be okay with Keanu Reeves only being a villain.
Yeah, I feel like unless he's like going to be the main villain, I could go with that. But I'd want him to be something a little bit more than that. I do the Eternals though. That if these rumors are well founded, and like these conversations have been going on for a long time, which according to Kevin Feige, like they've been trying to find something for Keanu to do. And obviously the Eternals is one that's coming up pretty soon.
Right.
I think that would be an interesting time fit, but I don't know if that character is the best for him. So kind of going along the same villain train, the next one they list is the Mandarin. So obviously the Mandarin is one of the main villains from the Iron Man comics. He's mentioned in Iron Man 3. It's kind of a twist. The guy who looks like the Mandarin ends up just being some actor. But they've always said they want to come back to the Mandarin and like make
the real
that.
Mandarin is out there. We do know that. I think that he would do a good job with that role, but I feel like they wouldn't cast him there because of whitewashing.
Oh yeah, that's true. They've got to be
because
careful
Mandarin
of
is Asian. Keanu looks kind of Asian, but he is not Asian. Although Keanu has filled in, like he's been the white guy in Asian culture a few times now. So I don't know, maybe.
He definitely, I think he could look the part really well.
Absolutely.
Again, I don't know that I want to see him as a villain. You know what I mean?
I agree.
He's too good of a guy in real life. He's obviously a great action hero. And I just don't know. I mean, I haven't seen enough of John Wick and anything like that. But, like, do you think he could pull off being, I don't know, menacing?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
You have not seen John Wick, Jake.
I haven't seen John Wick. So, Steven, you got to bring him up next time you come up for a weekend, man. We just got to do this.
Again, I'm going to quote you here, or I'm going to quote him here from John Wick 2 when this guy pisses him off and he's with him in public and this guy knows all about John Wick's legends. And he's like, "Oh, I bet you want to kill me right now. How are you going to do it? Maybe with that woman's pen, or maybe with that bench over there." And then he just leans in and goes, "My hands." It was like terrifying. It was great.
All right. Well, maybe he would make a better villain than I'm thinking. But anyway, the rumor, kind of like one of the theories, is like maybe the Mandarin would show up in the Shang-Chi movie.
That would make sense.
So maybe that might fit. Again, kind of like you said, he's played the white man in the Asian culture before, so that could work. I really like this next one, Steven. Moon Knight.
I would love to finally get Moon Knight in a movie, because Moon Knight, I don't know how much you know about Moon Knight, but he is such a complex character.
So I get Moon Knight and the Taskmaster confused a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have basically the exact same outfit.
They have the same cape.
Yeah. And Taskmaster, wait, do they have the same powers too? Is that what you just said?
No, Taskmaster has basically a photographic memory and can mimic the combat style of anyone he fights. Moon Knight is a guy that suffers from dissociative identity disorder, so he has multiple personalities, and he is blessed with the powers of Khonshu, the Egyptian god of the moon. So when you do a Moon Knight movie, you would have to do it in such a way to where the main character is constantly talking to projections of himself that are different versions of him. That's why I would love to see a Moon Knight movie, because, well, one, it would probably need to be rated R, because Moon Knight is rough.
Yeah,
but he's such an interesting character.
Batman a lot, or like if you see like, oh, Marvel and DC are copying each other, like Moon Knight and Batman are usually put next to each other.
They look alike. Moon Knight is nothing like Batman beyond that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't even think they look that much alike. I mean, like I get it, but whatever.
Yeah.
So are you envisioning, like, obviously Reeves being Moon Knight? So he would be talking to other versions of himself, like
of himself.
Keanu Reeves, the actor, being.
That's kind of how I see it, which is what makes me think, I don't know if Keanu has that kind of range. Like, he can be intimidating, he can be serious, he can be funny, like he can do a lot. But like, I don't know.
It
That
takes
would
a
be
lot.
risky.
It takes a lot to be like two personalities.
Yeah, like
or
the
even
perfect
if it's
example
going
of
to go
that.
to 3 or 4. That's a lot.
In fact, here's who you should get to be Moon Knight, and I know this isn't what we're talking about. If he's not Xavier, James McAvoy. I don't know if you ever saw Split.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He nailed it. Mm-hmm. Like, he was able to switch. Like, they did shots of him switching personalities in like all in one take, and it was flawless. And all of them felt believable. And I don't know. I would love to see him as a Moon Knight character because he is pretty built now because of Split. Mm-hmm. So I think he could do it.
Interesting. Well, yeah, Keanu would definitely have the stunt and like just fighting capacity to do something like Moon Knight. But anyway, another villain. I don't know why people are throwing him as so many villains, but Kraven the Hunter, big Spider-Man villain.
I could see that. I think that. We'll see. I was gonna say someone with a more Russian accent, but Keanu can pull off Russian. Like in John Wick, he actually is Russian.
Yeah. I think
so
he could pull that off. Absolutely,
he could pull off Kraven. That could be cool. And Kraven is often sympathetic. He's not always a villain. He's sometimes a good guy. So
yeah,
I could see that.
I can't remember which Spider-Man movie it was, or not movie, game it was. But there was one Spider-Man game where you teamed up with Kraven through most of the game, and then eventually he turned and became a villain. But anyway, so that could be interesting. I wonder if they're throwing out like all these villains because typically the villains have a 1 or 2 hit role, and not that I wouldn't love to see Keanu in the MCU for as long as he'd want to be in it, but he's doing a lot, and I wonder if saying committing to I'm going to be this villain this whole time, if that would be harder or a little tough on what he wants to do, because I know that's hard on a lot of the MCU actors. I don't know. I wonder if that's why they're throwing some of these. So I think hang on. I'm looking to see how many more there are because okay. There's a lot more.
One that. Do you want to do just one more?
No, I want to go through all of these. Just the one that I thought was the last one was another villain. I was just gonna be like, really? Why?
Okay.
This next one is Kang the Conqueror.
No.
So, nah.
No.
Kang, obviously, one of the people that we've kind of pegged as potentially the next Thanos. Kang is a time-traveling villain who, basically if the Avengers ever mess with time, he shows up and tries to conquer everything and all this and that.
I think he's too bombastic and like I don't know the way he talks. I just couldn't see Keanu doing it. Yeah,
Keanu needs to be more of a menacing, few word type of villain. This needs to be somebody who's a little bit grander. I think not that Keanu Reeves isn't grand, but bombastic's a good word, Steven.
Yeah.
I really like this next one too. Silver Surfer.
He could do that.
He could do that.
I think it would be a waste of his talent because that would have to be mostly CG.
Yeah.
But he could do that.
I really like that one. That's probably one of my favorites. Because, obviously the Silver Surfer is very detached from everything, but like just below the surface, there's a lot going on. And I think Keanu could pull that off really, really well. So I'm excited to see how that is. Obviously, the hiccup with this is the Silver Surfer has been in the Fox Fantastic Four. Will he come back anytime soon? Who knows?
Yeah.
But that could be a huge. If he did that, I'd have to think Galactus was going to be one of the next villains coming if he's there.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not as familiar with this one, The Beyonder. Are you familiar at all with this one, Steven?
Beyonder is one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. And I don't know. We shouldn't be talking about casting Beyonder yet. You don't really go any higher than the Beyonder.
Really? That's interesting. Yeah, so I'm looking
I
at
think
the
one
image
above
now.
the Beyonder is the one above all, The one above all is literally the highest power in the Marvel universe, and it's basically God.
Gotcha. That's funny. Yeah, the Beyonder just looks like somebody straight out of the 80s. And he's got a Jerry curl and everything. But yeah, that's what it's saying here. It's one of the most powerful beings. He is prone to alter reality on a whim. That's funny. Yeah, I think you could have fun, especially I haven't seen Toy Story yet, but I feel like what's this character's name?
Duke Kaboom.
Duke Kaboom. I feel
he's
like
the best part of the movie.
You know, if the Beyonder, I think he would be like a Duke Kaboom type character, just from what I'm seeing here.
So Ghost Rider? That's literally who Ghost Rider is.
Yeah, exactly.
Him as Ghost Rider, that'd be interesting.
All right, last one, and I also really like this one. Adam Warlock.
See, that is the perfect casting, in my opinion. And you used the word detached, and I'm really glad you did, because when you got to Adam Warlock, I was going to say detached was one of my main words, because Adam does have this sense of being detached from a lot of things, but being kind of a level above everybody else. Mm-hmm. Keanu looks the part. I think that Adam acts in such a way to where he is, like I said, kind of above everything, but he does have the moral center to where he's cold and kind of calculating, but as a good guy. Yeah. But he also has the evil alternate personality called Magus. So you could get Keanu in a dual role as Adam, one of the main cosmic characters, which would be great, and then as Magus down the road, which would be awesome. You could get both.
I really like that. That's probably that and Silver Surfer are probably my favorite options. Yeah. For him to be. So
there is one more.
Yeah.
Which this is just kind of the obvious one, and it's not like we need a recast, but Punisher.
Right. Yeah. If they brought him into the
MCU, Keanu would be a good choice, but John Bernthal was so great that I don't want him to be recast. I want him
That's kind of where I'm at. I don't want any of those Netflix ones to be recast. If they're going to continue those, I wish they would just do something weird to bring them back, or to continue their story. I'm watching Jessica Jones season 3 right now. And man, I'm real sad that this show's going to end. It's really good. Like, detach it from everything Marvel right now. It's just a great show. I really, really like it, and I like the characters. So I hate to see all those go, and I don't know. I hope if they do continue them, they just bring the same people back. But whatever.
Yep.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Chortle Cast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a couple things you can do to help us out. Number one, you're already watching on YouTube. That means you're at chortlegames.com. You can like this video, share it with your friends, leave us a comment, let us know what you thought about these topics. Who do you want Keanu Reeves to play in the MCU? All that good stuff. I was going to say, what do you think about Tifa's breast size? But I don't even want to know. I'm done with that story. I hate it. Don't tell me about it. All that good stuff. If you're an audio listener, you're listening through iTunes, leave us a review. That really helps us out, helps people find the podcast, all that good stuff. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook, both at Chortle Games. You can join our Discord through the description of this link, or in the description of this video or podcast. And you can join us there. We have a lot of fun. We have a Destiny channel that we talk about Destiny. We've got memes, all that good stuff. It's a lot of fun. So come hang out with us there. And that's pretty much it. Steven, thanks for being on. I know you got to go. But let's quickly go over. This isn't the only thing we do on this channel, Steven. We got lots of stuff going on.
Yep.
This episode, Chortlecast airs every Monday, 12 o'clock Central Time. So come hang out with us. Steven or I is usually there for the premiere of this. So you can hang out with us live in chat while you listen to us talk, all that good stuff. Tuesday and Thursday, or Thursday, not just or. Tuesday or Thursday, we typically do a Team Up Tuesday. We've been saying we were going to take a break through June and July just because things were getting crazy. They kind of apparently slowed down real quick, so I don't think we've missed a Team Up Tuesday or a Team Up T-Day this summer yet, but we're continuing that streak of not missing yet because Thursday we're going to play Destiny 2. Yes. We're probably going to do the Menagerie. maybe wrap up some other weekly bounties if we need them. But anyway, so come hang out with us there. There'll be a lot of fun. On Wednesday, I know I jumped ahead. It's because Tuesday or Thursday just kind of mixes me up. Wednesday is when we do our Let's Play. I will be playing my friend Pedro. It'll be my first, I think, first hour with the game. I'm going to edit that. Be a lot of fun. It's pretty great. I played a live stream of it Friday, so if you watch this and are like, man, I want to see more, I basically just picked up where I left off in the Let's Play on the live stream Friday. So go watch that. And then this Friday, I'll be covering the live stream Friday afternoon. I believe, no, I think it's later in July. It's the last Splatoon. The last Splatoon Fest or Splatoon, gosh, what I'm blanking on the name. Splatfest is later in July. I haven't played Splatoon, Steven, in forever. And I've been craving doing it, so I may be doing that Friday just to kind of get warmed up for that Splatfest coming later. And then Saturday, Steven will cover stream doing something. So
probably Doom.
Probably Doom. That sounds great. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, tuning in, hanging out with us. Steven, you're a Toy Story hating son of a bitch, but I love you. We'll see you guys next time.